81 years ago, the Soviet Union became victorious over the forces of fascism. In remembrance, the 9th of May became one of the most important holidays of the Russian calendar. However, many news agencies have been spreading some quite interesting claims about this year's celebrations. So join me in my home city of Kursk as we explore how Russians are celebrating the victory in the Second World War. For any of you who may not know, Victory Day is the day that celebrates, well, the victory. The USSR suffered way more than most other countries in the Allies, and so it's quite an important day to remember those who fought and fell in that conflict. If you're more interested in what Victory Day itself actually is and how it's celebrated and remembered, then you can go and watch the video that I made last year. In that one I go into way more detail than I will in this one, but today what we're doing is we're going to find out how it's celebrated here in my home city of Kursk. One of the main things that you'll see in Russia on Den Pobedy is that there are plenty of patriotic things going on. Many events like here in this park right now, remembering those who fought and celebrating that they won. One of the main things that you'll see when you're walking about are the cars. These cars will go about with flags outside their windows or attached to the car itself. And quite often they'll be playing patriotic music as they drive around. Now, the problem is, I have no idea who organises those things because I actually wanted to hopefully try and join one of those convoys because, I mean, there's got to be some interesting people behind them. And overall, I just think if any of you actually know any of these people, please do try and get them in contact with me, and maybe next year I'll make a video about them. Now, talking about celebrations, the one most important one in the whole country is the parade on Red Square in Moscow. Now, many people for some reason were saying that that parade wasn't going to go ahead. And well, as I'm filming this, it already has done. However, yes, there weren't any military vehicles, but there was something else quite interesting. On that parade in Moscow today, there were soldiers of the Korean People's Army, the North Korean Army. Now that is because, well, now they are quite close allies, mainly because we're defending the region here in Kursk. Just over a year ago now, Ukrainian forces were pushed out of the Kursk region. A large part of that, well, not entirely part, but definitely a big help, were those Korean soldiers. So it's quite interesting to me at least that they were involved in the parade and are getting more involved in these things. And here we have the party, United Russia, the ruling party here, and they're giving out these ribbons here, which are the ribbons of St. George, which are associated with Victory Day. Quite similar to how the British will wear poppies for Remembrance Day. For filming what I'm showing you here today, many will accuse me of being a propagandist. Now that couldn't be further from the truth because, well, I'm not involving my own political opinions into this. I'm just showing you how Russians are actually celebrating this holiday. I'm literally just filming what's around me here in my home city, so if you think this is propaganda, then I don't know what to tell you. You're a bit of a lost soul. Now this right here says Kursk Gorod Voyskoy Slavy, which means Kursk, the city of military glory. Normally, as you might have seen in some of my other videos, there is a red star up there. But I don't know where that is now, but there you are. If you are interested in the hidden realities of modern Russia, which you won't see in the headlines, then subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button so you don't miss any of my new uploads. And if this video in particular is interesting for you, then don't forget to like and tell me in the comments, is there someone very close to you who you remember or who is still alive today who fought during the Second World War? And if there is someone, then tell me about their story. I remember having those speakers playing music last year, but maybe I'm just not remembering it correctly. Родина, которую мы защищаем, which means the homeland or motherland that we are defending. And here you see the more modern side of this celebration. The weather today is the worst it's been all week, and much worse than it was last year. It's been beautifully sunny and nice warm weather, went up to 28 degrees, but now it's starting to rain and extremely cloudy. Many in the Western media will probably say that it's an omen, a bad omen or something like that. Last year I did want to make a video in Volgograd for Victory Day. For any of you who are uneducated on this, that is what was formerly known as Stalingrad, the most deadly battle in all of human history. Now this holiday is extremely interesting for me in particular because I've had a bit of a lifelong obsession with the Second World War and also with the USSR, so for me it's like two of those interests coming together. So if next year you'd want, maybe I could make a 9th of May video in Volgograd, or just visit the city in general. It's somewhere I really want to see. That trip will be quite expensive though, because it's not really that easy to get there from Kursk, but if you want to help out, you can always donate. You can either do that through YouTube, or I have different places where you can become a member and get exclusive content and stuff like that. So if you want to help out and eventually get a video from Volgograd, then go to those, although it's not necessary. Just if you want to, I would appreciate it. I don't know if you can see very well from here, but up on that building, it notes that it started construction in 1945. Unfortunately, many cities throughout the European part of the Soviet Union were entirely destroyed during the Second World War. And so most of what you see in these cities are post-war constructions. For example, these buildings being from the Stalin era. It's actually very rare in cities like this to find somewhere that's particularly old. Like in Derby, for example, my home city in England, most of the buildings in the centre are at least from the Victorian era, so it just really shows how much the war impacted Russia. An interesting difference that I personally notice with celebrations like this in Russia when compared to my home country of England is that most of the people that I see celebrating here are actually the younger generation. Of course, the older generation do also mark the 9th of May. However, I noticed that most of the people, for example, who are riding around in those cars that I mentioned earlier, when you actually look through the windows, they must only be teenagers. Like, these people must have only just been able to learn how to drive, and then now they're going out there with their new cars and showing off their support and remembrance. You just don't really see that with Remembrance Day in England. You see some young people who care, but most of the time I notice just the older generation who mostly do that. Look at this convoy right here, ladies and gentlemen. The rain is getting rather quite heavy now, so I'm going to head home. If you actually enjoyed this video, then I think you'll enjoy this one where I went to the different memorials of the Kursk region. Anyway, thank you for watching all the way to the end. S праздником вас, с Днем Победы. Until next time, до свидания.